Welcome to our 2024 season of the Cloud Industry Forum presents TWF. We're speaking to you live from our mixed reality studio with the help of our friends here at Disruptive Live. Now on this TechWave Forum podcast, we interview a guest from our members or someone with something to say about cloud technology or AI or digital transformation or leadership or with ideas about what's coming next. I'm David Terra. I'm the CEO of the Cloud Industry Forum, which is a not-for-profit trade body that champions and helps accelerate the adoption of cloud technology and services. If you want to find more about what we do and how we help, go to cloudindustryforum.org. I'm at DT on X, David_Terra on Threads and Instagram, and easy to find on the web and LinkedIn and stuff like that. For today's show, we're talking about the technology topic that is at the start of a process of making the most significant and fundamental changes to both our business and personal lives, probably since the dawn of the internet. So of course, we're talking about artificial intelligence, and I'm delighted to talk to two very important tech influencers who've just published a book, which we'll talk about too. I'm delighted to welcome Dean Anthony Gratton and Sarah Jane Gratton to the show. Dean and Sarah Jane.
It's wonderful to be here, David. Thank you for asking us.
Great stuff. Well, can you introduce yourselves and what you do?
Shall I go first?
Ladies first.
Okay, I'll go first. I'm Sarah Jane Gratton. I'm the co-author of the book Playing God with Artificial Intelligence. We like to think the book is something of a game changer in terms of raising awareness of where we are and where we possibly could be in the future. As for me, I actually have a doctorate in psychology, which I sort of turn to shine on technology brands and consumers. So I ask questions like, why is this product selling so much more than this product? And it may not be a big name. It may be something quite simple if you look into the actual psychology of what makes the brand appealing. And I also write. I'm also pretty good at putting together promotional media for clients. So I'm quite a busy lady. And this is my lovely husband.
Oh, lovely husband.
My lovely husband.
That will change. So I'm Dean Anthony Gratton. I'm a technology influencer, futurist, and analyst. I've worked in the technology domain for 30 years, a former software engineer for 20 years, and a solution architect for about 10 years, specializing in the wireless and telecommunications field. My doctorate is in telecoms, wireless convergence. I was heavily medicated for safety reasons. But yeah, that's just me.
Excellent. Now, you've actually kind of explained that the book's called Playing God with Artificial Intelligence. So first off, why did you guys write it and why Playing God?
That's a really great question to start off with. We wanted to write something that was completely different to other books on AI that are out there. We had a conversation about it and said there's nothing that really tells the truth. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, for me, a lot of the books I've seen were AI for business, AI for this, AI for that, and I'm just thinking, no. You need to understand what AI is. It's first of all, it's a concept. And if you hark back to the original proposition made by Dr. John McCarthy in 1955, when he presented a proposal to Dartmouth College in New Hampshire, in the US, it was just a conjecture. His proposal was for a project for 2 months, and he conjectured, what if we could replicate human cognition or human-like cognition in a computer using software? And for me, that's the father. Dr. John McCarthy was the father of artificial intelligence. And from there, we are still striving toward the same goal, trying to replicate human-like cognition in a machine using software. Mm-hmm. And you see it very much today with your IVAs, your intelligent virtual agents, such as Alexa and Google and so on. When you try to, the natural language processing abilities of these machines, they still don't really understand the idiosyncrasies of human
There's
language.
nuances. Yeah.
If you pause and hesitate, so I mean, I can talk with Sarah, and if I hesitate, and Sarah will understand that I'm hesitating and pausing and trying to collect words in a sentence, whereas your IVA reluctantly would not do that and will just terminate you. Sorry, I don't understand that, and move on. So I wanted to, in this book, well, we wanted to, in this book, really set the record straight, explain what AI is, isn't, and what it might achieve.
Yeah.
Now, in the book, when you're explaining artificial intelligence, you talk about the artificial intelligence paradox. What do you mean by that?
See, this is sorry.
He loves talking about this, David.
For me, this makes me laugh because it makes me cringe as well. Because I mean, if you look at the latest, the Tesla model, Elon Musk and the
the new Model 2 that he's doing, the Opus. It's the Opus, isn't it?
And then you've got the Boston Dynamics or whatever it's called, and they try to replicate that ability of human fluidity. Look at this. I can move my hand, I can move my fingers. It's such fluidity and simplicity. And we try to replicate that in a machine. And when you look at, say, the latest model from Tesla, it really does look like it's desperate for the toilet when it walks. It really does.
But it's a working
Where's the toilet? Where is the toilet? And then it moves an egg from one place to another. Okay, fine. But what if it could crack open the egg, make an omelette? What if it could crack an egg, separate the whites from the yolk? And there's the granularity in the human ability to do that effortlessly. So the paradox is to replicate that. So I think it was Maravic's paradox is we've had 200,000 years of evolution, of human evolution, where we have this beauty in human form, and we try to replicate that in a machine. It's still quite pathetic, and that's the paradox.
I also call it, I like to call it plagiarizing nature, because what we're doing in essence is looking at how nature creates us and how we in ourselves using, if you like, nature as a blueprint for good. I like to think for good, for assistive technology. And I call AI assistive technology rather than artificial intelligence, because I believe that's a far more accurate description of where we are today. Retronym for where we are today. So it's all about plagiarizing nature, which we're not doing terribly well at the moment. We are in some aspects of it. Artificial neural networks, ANNs, which are incredibly powerful for diagnosis, so in healthcare. And yes, these hypotheses in diagnosis, they can do in milliseconds. So that's absolutely tremendous for the healthcare system and very, very valuable. So yes, I hope that answers your questions as to what the paradox is, what we're trying to understand, and where we are with AI now in terms of what the technology can do and what it can't.
Yeah, actually, to be honest, we're nowhere near what's eulogized in science fiction. We're nowhere near that. And as Sarah said, it's assistive technology, and AI today is nothing more than clever programming and smart technology. That's it. That's it. Let's stop being paranoid about artificial intelligence. It's not going to take over the world. We're not going to have robots streaming the streets, killing us all. Not quite yet. And to be honest, the likelihood is that we're not going to be around to see this anyway. Our children's children are not. We're not going to see this.
No, but I think the possibility for misuse of what we're developing is definitely there.
Correct, yeah.
And in that respect, the book is very much a cautionary tale.
Be careful what you wish for.
Be careful what you wish for, and let's have some really good ethical boundaries, if you like, created to scaffold what we're building. and protect what we're building for future generations. We won't be here, but we want to make sure that, future
children's
children, live in a safe world where technology is there to assist and not dominate.
So when I've read in the book a bit, when you talk about debunking AI and your philosophy of AI, that's what you just explained to us, yeah?
Yeah, sorry, I think you were coming on to that, but yes, I mean it's about looking at what intelligence is in terms of computing, and we would argue that it's not intelligent. It is just clever programming, it's algorithms. It's not intelligent, but also breaking that down further into what other people are trying to make it from a psychology and marketing perspective. I think that to a lot of people is quite scary. I know a lot of people that don't like to have Alexas because they, Amazon Echoes, because they feel, oh, Big Brother's watching me, Big Brother's listening, and and of course, yes, there are microphones, but there's no big evil plan with them. So,
and you're not that important. No one's that goddamn important.
Very good. Now, one of the cool things in the book is somebody called Xavier. He's your super intelligent agent. So introduce us to that person.
Okay, so Xavier. So our hope for Xavier is that he's humankind's savior. See, when you get to a level of Xavier, he is an artificial life form with intelligence. He no longer is artificial intelligence because he is a being. He is a being that can think for himself, reason for himself, make his own decisions, and question his own existence. So he's a being. He's no longer artificial intelligence. He's out of that sphere completely. And this is what we strive toward.
It's sapience, isn't it?
Well, he will have sentience, of course. Sentience is that raw ability to touch, feel, smell, sense. But then the next level is what we have is the awareness. And so with the sentience, we have awareness of our ability to touch, feel, and smell, and so on. But then consciousness allows us to understand those sentient experiences. And maybe, for example, then we may take it to another level where, for example, we take a glass of wine, maybe a Rioja, for example, and the last time, say, we were in Spain, and we said, oh, we had this in the
that little cafe. It evokes memories, doesn't it? It evokes memories.
I don't know if it's recording.
We are recording. Let me just say that again. It evokes memories. The taste reminds you of a particular moment.
Yeah.
A smell can remind you of a particular moment.
And that's called qualia.
Qualia, I love that word.
So that moment, you just get that little pop-up in your brain where it's just a little memory bubble where you just remember that experience being on the beach with that wine, and you think, oh my God, I remember that. We were talking,
yeah.
The sun was shining, people were playing on the beach, and that is qualia. And the thing is, to develop Xavier, I think sentience is quite simple. Consciousness is a big level, and then for him to have those moments or those pockets of qualia, well, because that's his qualia would be his life experiences. Those life experiences would be unique to him, like those qualia experiences are unique to us.
And then learning from that would give him sapience, wisdom.
Absolutely.
So the learning. So that's another level of where he could go, where he could evolve. But our idea of Xavier
Purpose, classification
is that he is there to assist us. That is the dream, if you like, the goal in this hypothetical creation, but based upon scientific evidence, which we use throughout the book. But then we also look at what if, and there again, this is the cautionary element of where things could go horribly wrong.
But I mean, we talk about classification and taxonomy in the book, when we talk about Xavier's role in human society, his role in human society. Okay, you are going to get resistance from other people. We don't want these people, we don't need robots doing this and doing that. But then if it could help with nursing, if it could help with uh, uh, care for the people who are infirm and so on. Or even, for example, when you say we want to inhabit, say, the moon, or we want to inhabit Mars, we can send Xaviers up to build infrastructures ready for human habitation. And this is what Xavier could do. This is how we envisage Xavier doing these things.
Taking on the jobs that are dangerous,
Correct.
Monotonous even. I mean, we've already got robots in factories, so there are levels and grades, because if we can get bored, Xavier could get very bored,
Potentially.
So
Only if he has consciousness.
but then we're talking about different levels. But it's a complex subject, but it's fascinating to explore. We certainly found it fascinating to explore and write about it in the book. Getting all the research together, it took a long time. It took us 3 years to get all the research together and to write this book.
And it's not black and white either. It's not black and white, and there's so many grey areas. And the thing is, it's so subjective, because you ask 100 people, you're going to get 100 different answers about what should be, what is right and what is wrong. And I think that's the challenge. And we argue, we set out in the book. These are just ideas. Look, here we are. We set out these ideas. Let's call this book a discussion document. Anyone out there who reads the book has any further questions, come back to us. We would love to talk to you about them.
Yes, Sarah mentioned a bit of healthcare a little while ago in one of her answers. What kind of things in terms of industrial and law enforcement and military applications do you talk about in the book?
You take up the healthcare, I'll talk about the law enforcement and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, healthcare-wise, there are so many applications for advanced neural networks, for artificial neural networks, in terms of diagnosis, in terms of understanding disease. And you've got these, what are being developed, plagiarizing nature, little devices that can actually understand cell structure and replicate what makes a cancer cell happen, from a sort of from a cell level. So this is particularly useful to actually have diagnostics going on within the body as disease is actually starting to build and occur, and understanding the cell changes that go on is a fascinating study. I find it incredibly fascinating. We're already being able to diagnose breast cancer very, very early on, thanks to artificial neural network technology and mammograms. And of course, you've got the human error aspect of physicians who work incredibly long hours and who get tired and make mistakes. Artificial neural networks in diagnostic systems don't get tired. They can work through the night. They can work tirelessly. As long as they've got power, they're working, they're diagnosing, and they're assisting. So I find that really fascinating.
So I'll come on to the law enforcement and the military. This is quite emotive for me, because I find it quite annoying, especially in the press over the last maybe year. We've seen the Met Police in London, for example, where the officers have been found guilty of rape, criminal activity, and so on. And really, for me, it raises the question: who the hell do you trust? And it's not limited to law enforcement either. Even in the military, you have those who abuse their power and trust. And if you have a Xavier patrolling, in fact, to be honest, you take a step back further, because why do we need this? Why do we need this in society? We should all be good people and do things. I mean, we have military and weapons of mass destruction and so on, because I saw in the UK that the UK government now developing a hypersonic missile to outdo another country and whatnot. Why? Why are we doing this? Why don't we invest that technology or that effort and time and money into, say, healthcare? Why are we doing this? Why are we hell bent on killing each other? And I think I mentioned about Fermi's paradox in the book about. I think Fermi asked about where are the aliens. Well, I dare say the aliens are probably passing by in their little put-puts, looking at Earth, thinking, "Look at that! They can't even get on with themselves. How the hell are we going to get on with them being an alien when they can't get on with each other?"
Yeah.
Seriously,
Yeah.
really, law enforcement and the military is pathetic.
But in terms of safety, there are aspects to
You
to
always,
Xavier that well, for example, entering earthquake areas, actually going
oh yeah, yeah,
down
yeah,
into
absolutely.
unsafe mines, chemical weapon use, even, so there are applications there where
Well,
Xavier
yeah,
could absolutely assist, and some of these technologies um,
for
are
safety,
already
yeah,
there, yeah,
yeah,
to save lives.
yeah, for safety. I mean, in a situation where if there's an earthquake and somebody has to go into the area to rescue people and so on, that's fine. And there do needs to be an element of law enforcement because people can be naughty people. But the military to destroy each other, I don't see the point. What is the point?
Now,
Don't get it.
in the book, you cover a lot of possible futures. You talk about metahuman and digital immortality and bioengineering. Is that something we should be excited about or scared about?
I'll let you answer that one, Jean, bioengineering side.
The thing I remember talking about, I think it was in the chapter Transhumanism and Humanity Plus, and we've seen several. I think we've seen several films and the, I think, was it Amazon or was it Netflix, the upload program where you can upload consciousness, digitally upload your consciousness to a digital form and to save it. And then when you say, for example, I don't know, you can transfer that to a newborn baby, for example, or likewise. You've heard of the the sheep being cloned and dogs being cloned, but of course, but they wouldn't have the personalities. But if you could actually digitally upload those personalities into the cloud, and then when that clone is born, you can download that personality, then, well, technically, or for intents and purposes, you might have that dog again, I don't know, or sheep again, or whatever. So that's bioengineering. Is it bioengineering? I'm not sure. But for me, it's the digital upload of consciousness and transhumanism and humanity plus. Can that ever be done? I don't know. I discuss it in the book, and I'm not quite sure. What do you think?
I think being able to, if you like, upload a great mind, some of the great minds of our time, some of the geniuses of our time, would be a valuable thing. I think trying to bring a person back to life is a little disturbing.
Mm,
But certainly some aspects of it are very interesting to explore, and you did a really good job explaining where we are with all this now, and where we could go with it in the future. So yeah, a bit of a scary and contentious topic for
yeah, it
me,
was
to be
quite.
honest.
Actually, my prospect was quite macabre because I even conjectured the idea as to whether or not we could actually have babies, because a baby from its birth is tabula rasa. It's nothing. It's a blank slate. And whether or not we could take that baby and actually mold it to be, say, I don't know, mold it to be a new Albert Einstein. But then, I mean, imagine the ethical and moral responsibilities of that. I mean, that's huge.
Yeah. I think
That's enormous.
that's a bit scary. So that's kind of where we are with that side of things.
Sorry, that's a bit of a very dark subject. Yeah.
And just so that I understand, do you think we're headed towards a kind of like the singularity, artificial consciousness? It sounds like that's a possibility, but not what you think is going to happen.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to see that in our lifetime. The singularity. I think, to be honest, if humans end up developing, say for example, Xavier, to the point where he's so super intelligent that he's able to outsmart us, and he realizes that what is the point of humanity? Because humanity, well, you've destroyed Earth, you've destroyed everything around you. You serve no purpose anymore. What's the point of you? We will destroy you.
Yeah, we do conjecture that in the book, David, and I've actually called it sapient computational intelligence, which SCI for short.
Ba-boom.
But that is really, yes, Xavier would have the knowledge and the capacity
And the sapiens.
and the sapience to do things so much better than humans can.
But why would we do that? Why would humanity? Because we are stupid. We are ultimately stupid because it's one-upmanship. Oh, I've done it better than you. No, I've done it better than you. I've done it better than you. And this continued conquest to actually outdo each other is just foolish.
Yeah, I think in terms of that, let's call it AI. I think this is why the ethical side of things has to be really strong. There needs to be a huge amount of discussion around the ethics of sapient computational intelligence. Anything surrounding that, the ethical framework has to be there, and it has to be solid, rock solid. I firmly believe that.
Well, Sarah is absolutely correct. Problem is that there are going to be those who will abuse it and forgo the ethical and moral responsibilities associated
And that's
with
the scary part. Yeah.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
You might have these world leaders of these rogue leaders across the world thinking, oh no, I'll do it my way.
Yeah.
What do you want people to take away from the book?
Oh, that's a really good question, David. I just like it to open up people's minds to what artificial intelligence is now. To hopefully, in some respects,
Educate.
well, to educate, of course, but also to reassure that assistive technology can do an awful lot of good if we use it correctly and if we create it correctly with good in mind. That's a big takeaway that I'd like. I'd also like it to be something people talk about, form their own opinions on, and share those opinions. One of the things that's coming up, we're going to create a Playing God site with forums, discussion groups, and updates, because the book is a moving thing. It's constantly changing. It's evolving itself.
It's a living document.
So yeah, we want to use some technology with the book to actually involve people in the conversation of where we are and where we're going.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think I mentioned this before. For me, yeah, it's educational. It explains what it is, what it isn't, what it's done, and what it's achieved for industry. But it's a discussion document. When we go into the freedom of thought section, and we start talking about plagiarizing nature and how we conjecture how we might create Xavier, how we might create an artificial life form with intelligence. It's a discussion document. We want to set the boundaries. It's a blueprint. It's a template how we might do this and how it should form itself in the future. And yeah, I want it to be a guidebook.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to describe it.
And on that point, where do you think we're going to be in 10 years' time with AI?
Gosh,
Nowhere.
I hope Dean thinks nowhere.
Nowhere.
I think that medical advances, certainly in diagnostics, are moving forward quite rapidly in a really positive direction. Also in the area of agritech, where autonomous tractors, for example, are being rolled out across the UK as we speak about this, and are proving to be, hugely successful with growers. There are lots of ways that the government wants to make them affordable for all, to level the playing field here. So it's not just the big boys that can enjoy them. With the seasonal labour shortages, even though there have been changes now made to the visas, they aren't enough. There aren't enough workers to keep our food and flour supplies going across the nation. So there, I think technology will play an increasingly important role. That's just two areas, in terms of education and learning. There are lots of new systems coming in that are helping break through barriers for autistic children. The applications are evolving and they're growing. So I'm a little bit more optimistic than Dean when I say I think in 10 years from time, we'll be able to see a lot more good happening.
Let me just tell you what you just touched upon. What you just explained is software.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, but David asked where would we be in 10 years? That's where I think we'll be.
With AI. But
no,
AI,
he asked where will you be in 10 years? He didn't mention AI. He said, where will we be in 10 years? And I've answered the question.
Okay, sorry. I understood the context to be AI. But in terms of AI...
Well, I guess it is because of the book. But
voilà.
But so, in terms of technology, I think...
So
yeah.
with AI...
I hope I answered the question, David.
You could take it both ways. So I'm intrigued to hear what Dean wants to add.
Okay. So, yeah, I was just going to add, if I may, don't kill me. Don't shoot the messenger, darling. It's just that what you talked about was software, and it's the evolution of software. Software will continue to evolve, and technology too, for that matter. So in terms of agriculture and education and agri-tech and so on, but in terms of AI and whether or not we're going to see bloody robots on the road and all that kind of stuff, no, ain't going to happen. We're not going to see that for many generations to come. Software will continue to evolve, technology will continue to get better. But as for robots, the stupid bloody robots that the Boston Electronics and the Teslas are developing, great. What they're doing is proving the mechanical engineering and evolving the mechanical engineering. And ultimately, that's what we're going to need in maybe 50 or 100 years' time when it's more refined and it's more human-like. Mm-hmm. When we have that dexterity, look at that. Just to do that, it's just amazing. And you see the robots do this. No. That's what I mean. Okay. That's what I mean by 10 years' time.
Okay. We are seeing, however, quite a lot of dexterity in fruit picking, robotics. Yes. That's definitely happening. We're also seeing, of course, we talked about autonomous vehicles for different uses, usually industrial. But no, I do think, and I think digital twin, the use of digital twins, David, in 10 years' time, it's going to be used in everything. We're already seeing it being used a lot for space exploration, for manufacturing, for geographical and climate change issues. We're seeing in terms of architecture, what's going to work, what isn't, and that's an exciting area. So another prediction is 10 years' time, I think everybody will know what a digital twin is, and in some capacity, they'll be using it in one way or another.
Well, that's all been brilliant. It's all been fascinating, and it's a really interesting kind of perspective on this in the way that you're asking the questions and the like. If people want to find out more about you and what you do in the book, and you mentioned that community that you're putting together, how do they find you? How do they find that?
That's coming really soon. But for now, please buy the book. It's available on Amazon worldwide. So you can find it on your local Amazon store. It's available in paperback, and it's also available in Kindle format. And if you haven't got Kindle and you want to read it in that format, you can download the app and read it on any device. So it's available there. So yes, please buy the book.
And how about finding you and Dean?
Oh gosh, yes. So respective websites. You just go for me. It's SJ, S for Sarah, J for Jane, at sarahgratton.com. And for hubby here, it's Dean at deangratton.com.
Well, that's been fantastic. It's also the first time I've actually interviewed a husband and wife team, and it's great to have that extra dynamic in here as well. It's been good fun. So thanks for coming on the show.
Excellent. Well, it's been great talking to you, and I hope that your listeners have picked up some good tips for discussion.
Yeah, thanks ever so much for inviting us.
Well, I hope you enjoyed Dean and Sarah Jane's take on AI and the possible futures and where it could lead us, and some of the back and forth there was absolutely fascinating. We'll be back live next Wednesday at 14:30 UK time. We want your feedback, we want your suggestions, or maybe you want to be a guest on the show. Put something in the comments here or email us at info@cloudindustryforum.org. We look forward to hearing from you, and we hope to see you next week or next time.